Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Jason, your strength and confidence coach, here with Six Pack Confidence to tell you about your cravings. And I want to tell you guys about your cravings because if we're able to understand our cravings, we're able to control our cravings a little bit better. So in today's video, I just want to quickly go over where do cravings come from, how can you control it, and what are the consequences if you don't. So let's talk about understanding our cravings. And it's important to understand our cravings because we want to know if it's a physical or mental craving. Physical craving being something that was habitual, something that has been brought up from when you were younger and now you continue to have the habit of eating those particular types of food. Or is it mental? Is it a mental addiction to the happy hormones that get released when you eat something that's sweet or salty? Is it something that is literally in your habit pattern, or has it just become an addiction? If we're able to figure out which one it is, then that will help us dictate the path forward in order to control it. So the main question that we can use to figure that out is it for comfort? Are we looking at food as a source of comfort? Are we looking at it as I've been stressed out all week, or I deserve this because I've been working so hard, I need some comfort. Like, I'm stressed out in my life, so I need to eat this. And you see this very commonly with like a binge eating, and that is usually when it's both like a physical and a mental. If some people, it actually isn't comfort food. It's just something that they kind of do, and they don't really like consciously recognize that they're eating a lot of these different or these same types of food rather that's giving them the cravings. So then you also have, is it from restriction? So that's where it could be from, whether it's the physical or mental. In mental cases, if the food is for comfort, usually the route is then trying to de-wire and desensitize your brain to those sweets. If it's from restriction, which is very interesting because this can happen a lot with frequent yo-yo dieters. This can happen with the people that have tried every single type of diet. They try to lose weight, try to lose fat, but then the cycle continues, they gain the weight back, and it becomes this like ever-ending cycle of like a week or two you're good, and then a week or two you're not, and it just kind of spirals, right? If it's from restriction, because you're saying, I'm not gonna have any sugar, what happens is we have these just animal instincts that say, I'm going to go ahead and have that anyway, because it's like this rebellious nature inside of us. If we restrict something too much, we're actually going to have a hard time staying away from it. It's like if I were to tell you, don't think about the purple elephant, you almost want to think about the purple elephant because I told you not to. So if you're telling yourself, I'm not going to have these things, it then starts to become this taboo, like I want to have this because it's like this dirty, right? Instead, what you can look at is allowing yourself, so having allowance, allowing yourself to have particular types of food that fit your cravings, allowing yourself to have some sugar, but just being limiting of it and understanding what a perfect day for you looks like. So now we could talk about how to control it by allowing the cravings in, by reflecting on where the cravings are coming from, and then taking the proper steps forward. And then as far as the consequences are, well, if you don't take control of your cravings, then you're always going to be subject to that yo-yo diet cycle that we want to break out of. But until you can break that mental barrier of understanding your cravings, it's going to be so difficult for you to really move steps forward, especially if you're trying to lose like 50, 60, 70 plus pounds. What happens to a lot of people is that they go into this cycle where they eat really healthy for a couple of weeks or maybe a month or maybe a couple of months. They lose some weight, but then they plateau. They get stuck, they get frustrated, and then that's where the sweets and stuff starts coming back in, because why restrict yourself if you're not even going to see any progress? You want to be able to balance the two sides. So that's basically how you want to go about your cravings. All about allowing the perfect amount while still balancing out enough of your healthy foods and understanding how many calories you're taking in, because especially if we're talking about fat loss or weight loss, we want to make sure that we're in a calorie deficit, so you're eating less calories than your body burns. And if you're able to figure out a sustainable way to do that by allowing some of the cravings to come in, then 6 months down the line, a year down the line, you're going to have lost the weight and be able to keep it off. So just some tips and tricks to help dealing with the intense part of the cravings, which usually comes in the beginning. And of course, it also will come up here and there because cravings are very natural, but it's all about becoming in control of it. So 0-calorie drinks are a great way to work with cravings or hunger. something like an iced sparkling water or sparkling water, seltzer water, black coffee, or maybe some herbal tea. Those things, 0 calories, will help fill up your stomach, help you fill up those cravings. Fasting can also work because the ability to push off that gratification of having a meal and allowing yourself to go periods of time without eating, it gives you willpower, it gives you discipline, it gives you strength to say, hey, I'm just hungry or I just have a craving, but I'm still able to move on with my life and continue to move forward. Controlled allowance, kind of like we were talking about before. We can use controlled allowance by implementing the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your food is coming from healthy, whole sources, while 20% of your food is coming from, I guess, the junk food and what you want to call it. So that way, it doesn't become 100% and 100%, where one day I'm eating super healthy, one day I'm eating just total junk the entire day. We want to have that balance of 80-20. And then the last thing is to have fat loss phases. So if maybe, especially if you have a lot of weight to lose, it can be pretty difficult in one shot to lose 50 straight pounds. What you can do is go, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, and then you go through a couple of weeks of maintenance, and then I'm going to lose another 10 pounds. I'm going to go through a couple of weeks of maintenance. But in order for you to really do that strategically, you've got to know your calorie limit. And that's what's most important, is you have to understand your cravings. So, understand your cravings, understand your calories, and you'll be able to battle this a lot easier. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and this is Jason, your strength and confidence coach, signing out.